Sí, dime. A ver, pues. ¿Por qué no me corta el pelo, Fredita, A ver, dime, pero ¿qué tienes? Un dólar no tengo.
This is Julie Chiariello with Skunk Magazine, and I'm here with Cheech and Tommy Chong. Hi guys,
Hey.
So good to see you. We have lots of exciting things to discuss today. What a long, strange trip it's been to arrive here.
Still tripping too.
Right?
Yeah, stranger than ever.
I know, I was thinking of Salvador Dali's quote that I don't need drugs, I am drugs. And I was thinking, I've been trying to do this kind of microdosing with LSD recently, and I was like, no, I don't need any LSD. I'm going to be sitting here with Cheech and
Chong,
and
it's virtual LSD.
exactly. So
Yeah.
you guys, I think you've graduated as elders now. Nobody needs acid around you.
That's right.
And I heard you want to be going more towards the illicit side of things since we've hit the legal market.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, where's the leading edge here?
Yeah, I mean, you lose it, and you're lined up with old ladies getting their medication.
Right.
takes the romantic era.
He's now on the suppository only end of it,
No, I got a lot of suppositories for sale.
That's what I'm thinking.
Swinging suppositories, which is really, really important. The world needs it.
Suppositories only got a back end of this joint here.
Those suppositories, for all the good they did, I might as well shoved them up my ass.
You started at the front end, and now you're moving around to the rear.
Here we go.
You're thorough.
Yes.
But I wanted to go back because, this is a special historical moment that you guys are starting dispensaries together.
Yes.
I'm really, really happy about it. But I wanted to take people back, those that don't know, and tell us a little bit in your own words about your meeting.
How we met?
Yeah. Let's go all the way back.
What version? What version do you want there,
BC
Gene?
Bud in the 1970s, and what was it like? I mean,
Well, it was an ad. I answered in the Georgia Strait. It was the hippie underground paper. Learn the joys of rubber clothing. Excessively hairy men need not apply. So, I went there to the address. Whoa, that was you.
Actually, we met a Russian introduced us. Ihor.
Ukrainian.
Ukrainian.
Big difference in countries.
Ukrainian.
So you had a Russian, an Asian, and a Mexican.
Well, he was a Ukrainian. He owned a magazine called Poppin'.
Poppin' magazine.
Poppin'
I was
magazine.
writing for it at the time.
And Cheech was writing. He was a writer. And I had an improvisational topless nightclub going.
Yeah.
And I needed a straight man, someone straight. And so Ihor was a customer of mine, and he said, I know the perfect guy for you. And so he introduced us.
Yeah.
The rest is history.
So amazing. And you had been running Cheech. I think, right now we're in this kind of revolutionary moment.
Yeah.
And back then we were in a revolutionary moment.
Same thing.
Right. It's the same thing. And so now you were leaving, you were a writer.
Yeah.
And here you are, you find yourself in Vancouver. I mean, what did it take to get you to leave America? Or you're just saying, forget it?
Well,
A lot of people are feeling that right now.
Yeah, I understand kind of that same. And my wife is too. Let's go this water source. Let's go place where there's a good water source. And that was like. I went to Canada originally to be a potter. I was a potter. I made pottery in school. I was but I was also in part of the draft resistance movement at the same time, and we refused to cooperate with the draft and blah blah blah. And so they were after us, But so there was a directive issued that anybody that participated in all these protests, which I was doing a lot, would be immediately reclassified from 2S, which is a student deferment, onto a 1A, immediately available draft, would be drafted and sent to the front lines of Vietnam. That was General Hershey's directive. and I said something along the lines of "Go fuck yourself," and I went to Canada, but I was going to Canada originally to be a potter, and stayed there until for 3 years, and that's how I met Tommy. Then we eventually came back here.
It's beautiful, and so, you know, to me, you're like the epitome of that counterculture energy, and so are you, Tommy, for a different reason, because the roots of vaudeville, burlesque, stand-up comedy, I just feel like all of them lend themselves to thinking outside the box, and a lot of people don't know the root of stand-up comedy was the burlesque, was the vaudeville circuit, and so there was something to you know, you guys met and had this ability to converse about things that were shunned with normal society, right? A normal, you know, variety show was not going to discuss the things that you guys could discuss. And so I wanted you guys to be able to, you know, talk about that a little bit, especially you, Tommy, to, you know, how you wanted, you know, what drew you first to create that comedy improv, and what was your part in this kind of counterculture?
Well, I was a musician, you know, I was a blues guitar player. And we got discovered and signed by Motown. And so when I was on the circuit with Motown, we went to Chicago, and instead of going to a blues club, I'd go to Second City. And I got turned on to the improvisational comedy. And then when I was in San Francisco, same thing. I had a band. We were playing at a strip club in San Francisco called Big Al's. And down this road was the Committee, and with Howard Hessman. And so I would pay my way, go see the Committee, see improvisational comedy. And it just, and being a musician, you know, when you learn tunes, you have to remember things, you know, you have to. And so when I would see the improvisational theaters, I would remember the whole bit. I could remember the whole thing. And so then when I started the strip club up in Vancouver, it was originally a strip club. It was funny. All the clubs that I owned were given to me. The first one was an after-hours club. The guy had he had a building, but he needed a club in the basement. Right. And so he offered, hey, you want a club? So yeah, okay. It was the third club that I had, but this one was fully furnished, right. You know. And so, yeah, and same thing, and the after-hours club was so popular that we made a ton of money, and we also got a reputation for being a good club owner. And so then the strip club, which was in Chinatown, was a dinner club, very high-class dinner club, and that was offered to me. Yeah. Hey, do you want a club? Yeah, okay. And so rather than do another after-hours club, I said, Vancouver never had any strip clubs. And so I opened the first topless.
Which is wild, because Montreal has a strip club and a church on every corner.
Yeah.
I lived there for 5 years.
Vancouver, well, it had that, you know, the what do you call it, the church,
Puritanical.
where you had it, yeah, you had it close at midnight, all that, on Saturday night, right. You know. And so I ended up with 2 clubs and a strip club, and then I got fired from Motown, and so that was a long story. It was a good story too. But so I went back to Vancouver to work in the clubs, yeah. And so I started working the lights at the strip club, and you know, just being the light guy. And then I started writing the show. I'd see what the girls would do, and I noticed the girls would come in off the street looking beautiful, young, you know, right. Gorgeous, nice dress, you know, hip, very hip looking. But then when they put on their stripper garb, they would morph into this. Transform. Well, they'd transform into, you know, Amazon. Well, kind of slutty, kind of stripperish, yeah. You know.
That's the part we liked, actually.
I always have a theory, though.
But I always liked
yeah.
the fresh look. That was sexier to me.
Yes.
And so what I did, the first bit I did with the girls was, it was called the pajama party. And so the girls would come on stage dressed in their street clothes, and then they would change into their pajamas. And that was the sexiest thing in the whole world, you know.
Right. The
Seeing a
natural.
girl unbutton her blouse, you know. And so then I had the MC. Originally in the strip club, his name was Taps Harris, and he was a retired tap dancer, and he was just emceeing. And here's Lola, and here's Maureen, and blah, blah, blah. And so he never had to work hard. But when I started the improvisational club, I had the girls say, Taps, do a little tap dancing for us. You know?
Right.
And so the crowd never saw him, and he was world-class tap dancer. And so he would do a number, and the audience would clap crazy and make him do an encore. He quit that night.
Yeah.
Enough of this
That's
shit.
what I signed up for.
No, that's not what I. No, enough of this shit. I'm out of here. So I asked the doorman. I needed an MC, so I said to the doorman, Dave. I said, Dave, you want to be the MC? And so Dave says, I'll do it if you do it. And I said, before I was just working the lights. And so I said, oh, okay. So next thing you know, I'm on stage with Dave. And then we started doing bits and that I could remember from the committee.
Yeah.
And then when Cheech joined up, then he was like our straight guy. And we worked 9 months. We did 9 months there.
So he was the Dean Martin to your Jerry Lewis.
It wasn't set up that way.
I don't see you as a straight guy.
Because we played multiple characters.
Right, of course.
What I realized after a while is what we were doing was hippie burlesque.
Right.
It was classic hippie burlesque, strippers and comedians. But the comedians part was improvisational theater involving the dancers, you know.
Which was the leading edge at that
Oh,
time.
that's so fun.
And you created a whole new thing, you know, with the stoned part. So when did you first get stoned and go, we're fucking taking this onto the stage? We're gonna...
Before we went on the stage. It's like...
Well,
Because, you know, it just, so things will happen like that. And
We
maybe
were-
not everybody knows. What was that moment?
Well, the whole crew, you know, the acting crew, we all got stoned. In fact, we were doing a lot of acid at the time.
Yeah.
And but just micro, you know, just a little bit to get you by the night, you know.
Yes.
But a lot of micros.
Yeah.
You know.
And so
I was thinking
Yeah,
of
sure.
That's exactly what I was talking about
so when
earlier.
Cheech first came in to audition to see what the show was about before he'd commit. And so he showed up, and we were all stoned. We're backstage, and Cheech walks in with this gorgeous lady. Oh, she was full-length, mink coat, brunette, just a knockout.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like Hollywood. You know,
Yeah.
Cheech comes in there, and this gorgeous lady. And so I hired him right away. I said, oh, he's hired.
But there's only one small variation. I came to audition them.
Yeah.
I see. So
Yeah.
do I want to be here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so he saw the show and obviously liked it. And that was the last I saw of the girl, though.
Yeah, so.
Was Sarah? Was it
Sarah, yeah.
She came to say goodbye.
Basically. Hello, goodbye. Okay, well, I'm up in Canada
then-
now, so they got girls here too.
So she saw the comedy we were doing, and we were doing some crazy stuff because we attracted. As soon as I started the theater, we attracted all the theater types, and because I'd been a guitar player, we attracted like this hot guitar player from Edmonton. He came down as soon as he heard I was in town,
Right.
and
And
so-
strippers. The strippers from other clubs now that was but would come to our club to jam.
Yeah.
Sit in, you know.
It's
So
like
they
the
would
old juke joints as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot about. I also love the blues. I play the blues harmonica, and I thinking about what you were saying, the African diaspora, and blues, and the drug war,
Yeah.
and everything that is all intermixed. It all is coming forward in one expression.
Yeah.
And I often say, you know, it's like a renaissance that's happening. It wasn't that the hippies failed.
Yeah.
It was that it started back in the French salons. It went to the beats. It went to the zoot suiters.
Yeah.
It went through the blues and the jazz. It went up into the hippies. It went through the yippies. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, forget about Reagan. But now here we are.
Then it got a sitcom deal, and then that's where it changed.
Right, right. Now post sitcom, it's like, okay, well, what are we doing now?
Yeah.
We're still, you know, we're like 100 years into this change in society, but we're still having the same conversations.
Somewhat.
Some of them.
They've
Some
evolved.
of them we've evolved. Yeah.
Let's hear what your take is on that, because this is so relevant right now of what you guys saw then in BC and what you felt you needed to speak to and what we need to speak to now.
Well, back then weed was illegal. Acid wasn't, by the way.
Yeah.
Acid was still, you know, they didn't know what acid was.
Frank Zappa used to do this song called "It's Legal Till February."
Yeah, yeah. And then, so weed was highly illegal, and so what we started doing with our comedy, especially when we came to LA, just the two of us, we sussed out the situation. And first thing we had to do was come up with some good Mexican material, you know, some Chicano material.
Yeah.
And the second thing we had to do was get some, because we started doing, after we did our records, we started doing colleges and that, and the only thing they would really relate to was marijuana jokes, you know, pot jokes.
That's really, really
And so that's how we morphed into that. It was, the audience really dictated what we were doing.
Demanding when we do this drug humor.
Yeah.
right. And you saw the need because you were breaking stereotypes too. And this is what I wanted to move to is just that you created all of these stereotypes, but then you broke all of these stereotypes and you destigmatized it at the same time.
I'll tell you how that manifests itself as coming into. I got a call last year from the Secretary of State of the state of California, and he wanted me to. They were weed was illegal now, so they wanted to get the word out of how to apply for having a distribution or a dispensary. So he calls me up and says, "Would you make a video?" So from hunted by the police to now the official face of marijuana in the state of California.
I think that's a big joke. I mean, it's like, you know, how something can start out as just a joke.
Yeah.
And then end up being really profound.
Yeah, it
and
is.
I think that's like, what a trip. I mean, for you guys to live it, it is a great cosmic joke.
Yeah.
That this was just like, man, we need to score some weed and we need to have, you know, tits and ass and we need to have fun.
Well,
but it turned into something so deep and so profound and so impactful globally. You've changed things forever.
Yeah. Well, there was another aspect to it too, with me anyway, and Cheech too, is that we were both fairly athletic and we were both healthy, and I had been with, you know, hanging out with the bouncers or the bodybuilders, and so I had a healthy lifestyle, especially with the diet, and especially with not drinking, not smoking, and the only thing that bodybuilders would do, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, would be he would smoke a joint, and so
Arnold Schwarzenegger made us smoke marijuana.
Yeah, and so we promoted not only the weed, but we promoted the healthy lifestyle that went along with it, you know, subliminally and openly in our movies, you know.
When we were on the road, we belonged to the YMCA.
Yeah.
And so every town we'd go to, we'd come to the hotel, throw our bags in, go to the Y, work out, come home, do the show, party, go to the next town, do the same thing, repeat.
and stayed in shape. And when we did like the movie, the Corsican Brothers, you know, we were in Paris, I would always have, I was a director, so I always had a weight set on the set. And so we would do the workouts, you know.
So, you know, one of the things that has really been interesting in this evolution of the global cannabis industry is this green rush dynamic. And, you know, 6 years ago, I was really sick to death of hearing everybody talk about the green rush and...
What's the green rush?
The green rush?
Yeah.
It's like the gold rush.
The gold rush.
Oh, the gold, but green.
Yeah, but
Got
green.
it. Yeah.
And, you know, you guys know about it. I mean, I was thinking to, you know, Up in Smoke and Stadenko and how you guys did this spoof on, you know, what happens when you get a cop high and they start to actually have a conscience. They start to question their own authority. We need a lot more of that. But you know, this is actually happening, which is so funny. It's like you did this as a spoof, but here now we have Bill Blair, the drug war czar, is now making money off cannabis in Canada, which I find extremely insulting. We got Boner down here making money off of people.
Hypocritical,
and so this
isn't
is the
it?
green, yes. So this is what would be
It's
signified
highly
as the green rush.
Yeah.
And the idea that a lot of big money has come in. And for me, you know, cannabis is here along with mushrooms and other psychedelics and entheogens are here to propagate consciousness on the planet.
Well, that's a
They
possibility.
are here to actually help us do business in a better way, as you said, to live in a better way, to actually be more holistic and whole, not sick and broken down. And as you guys said, these were the subjects you were exploring. People thought, oh, they're just getting high, but actually you guys were exploring these subjects long ago. So now I feel like, you know, the industry itself needs to have this discussion, and Skunk Magazine is part of having this discussion, is, okay, it's not just about making money as usual. Business as usual is what's killing our world.
Well, it's hard to make money in this business.
Right. We're going to get to that too. So just, I wanted you guys to have a chance to speak about, okay, we know this is part of evolution. We know big money has to come in to help push that evolution. But now what? How can we actually listen to what the plant is guiding us to do? What it was guiding you guys to do way back when?
Well,
I want to hear this one. Go ahead.
Let's go.
the plant itself
Yes.
changes your consciousness. And so the cops that were at one time, you know, believing what they did, you know, they get high, then they realize wrong. You know, they're wrong. So it
Sergeant
changes.
Sunshine.
It changes their Sergeant Sunshine. We did a song about it. Sergeant Sunshine was a cop,
In San Francisco.
a very ordinary cop, who tried to live his life like a good cop should, but someone turned old Sunshine on, and very brightly Sunshine shone. And in return, he turned on everyone he could. And that's what's happening. So it's just like people, like I was on the Turks, you know, the Young Turks, and they were on this thing, you know, it's wrong that these guys, you know, are doing, arrested people, and then now they're capitalizing on that. Thing is, you change your consciousness, and that's what we did. And I was trying to tell these guys, you know, that you can change yourself. You can be evil one day and then have an epiphany and then change totally, without problem, because biblically speaking, that's what they say. You know, when you get born again, that's exactly what happens. And so, and they were trying. The Young Turks were still pushing. There should be some retribution. There should be some thing. And I had to tell them. I said, do you know that song, "Amazing Grace"? Mm-hmm. You know that song? Do you know the history of that song? Mm-hmm. Who wrote it?
Willie Nelson.
It was written by a slave ship owner, a guy, a captain of a slave ship. He was making his money transporting slaves from Africa to the Americas. On his way over one time, he wrote a song, "Amazing Grace." He had a complete turn, and he turned around, and from that moment on, he was a changed person, and he did the opposite. He was against all that he was doing at one time, and so, and weed does that, you know.
Tune in, turn on. What does that mean?
Drop dead.
It means that we have to change it now, because it means that if you wake up your consciousness, then what you believed before is no longer.
It's dead. It was a mistake anyway. See.
Do you think that Boner has
Made a
I have no
boner.
idea. You know, I have no idea how they think. I have no idea.
Right.
You know, just like the people that were trying to make money in Canada. You know, with MedMen is a good example.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Growth.
where they try to raise a ton of money. Hey, you know, and then they excluded the Chong or Cheech and Chong brand out of their
It
stores.
was a frat boy club. I mean, they
And
were all comparing dick sizes.
That's
right?
all they were just
Seriously.
raising money and keeping it.
Right.
They-
Mine is bigger than yours because I'm in Australia and Germany, and I'm
and all they're
selling
doing,
my weed.
all they're doing is raising money and skimming the money off.
Right.
Okay.
It's a show game.
What they'll fall down by the wayside.
Right.
You know. Okay,
They
now,
already have.
yeah, and now we come along, but
legacy brand.
but we're the real deal, and so it's not about money with us. It never was about money.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was about money, we probably wouldn't be sitting here
We
talking.
wouldn't be in this business.
No, exactly. Me either.
This
It
is too
sucks.
much hard work.
It is extremely hard work.
Yeah,
and
it
when
is.
you actually want to have a standard, when you actually want to have values, when you
Yeah.
actually want to function with humanity,
Yeah.
it's much harder. And I turn business away. I would never work with a MedMen. I would never work
Yeah.
with a Canopy Growth. I would never
Yeah.
work with an Ignite.
It's
I
like
just did
it's just like music, you know. When you're playing music, if you're perfectly in tune, you're fine. Just go about your business. But if you're out of tune and you keep playing, there's discord. You're gonna hear this
Start a punk
discord.
band.
It's not going to be right. And so then what you do, you tune up, or you just keep playing out of tune. Once you get tuned up, you don't remember being out of tune.
Right.
You see, you only remember the good stuff.
All there is now. It's all the same fucking day, man.
Yeah, and so we were just lucky enough to sit
Right.
back and just let things happen.
Right.
We saw the money there, and we got the offers. But this is the first legitimate offer that makes sense.
To us,
that made
yeah.
sense, you know,
And
because
I feel like the timing is right. I mean,
Yeah.
I was going back, I was reading an old High Times from back in the 70s, and I was, and it was funny because at the time, Coke played as much as cannabis, as much as acid, as much as everything. It was really about a wild moment when everything was up for grabs and everything was being discussed. But yeah, I mean, it seems like now is the right time. And I feel like it's the right time for legacy in general.
yeah,
All of the brands that were bootstrapping, real deal, authentic, we're the strongest brands right now.
yeah,
Thinking.
yeah.
Yes, and the others are showing us a study in how to waste millions and millions of dollars and fail.
Greed, greed, and short-sightedness. You know.
That
Exactly.
side of the road does the same thing. They just arrested Bannon for the same thing, raising money for the wall. Well, they're going to put the wall on your yacht, Steve.
Exactly. Yes, it's a
They're
lesson
just
in
crooks.
stupidity.
They're crooks.
Right. They could have been selling oil. They could have been selling crack. It doesn't matter. They just
And
they fail.
you know the funniest thing about all that stuff?
Right.
When they get money, they have to launder it, okay? And so when they launder the money, they're actually doing legitimate business. You know what I'm saying? And so instead of going through all the laundered money, and then when they get caught, they go to jail and everything disappears on them.
Yeah.
And so if they just put the same energy in to being straight. I was in prison with Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belford. If Jordan Belford just used a tenth
tiny little
of
pinky
his
little-
intelligence and went the straight route,
Right.
he'd be like,
Warren Buffett.
yeah, he'd be up there. He'd be up there. But instead, what did he do? He went the illegal route, like Trump.
Right.
He went the illegal route, and they spend more time trying to hang on to what they can't hang on to.
Right.
Because even Belford and Trump and all those guys, what do they do with their money? They hide it offshore.
Right.
They don't even get to enjoy it. They can't even buy art. They
Right.
can't buy anything with it.
They can enjoy their lives.
No, they can't enjoy anything.
No.
And so you think about all the energy that they put into being illegal. If they put a tenth of that into being, just being illegal, like
Right.
being legal like we are, then
So
they would be
it's our new
enjoying
book, How to Be Legal. It'll be available to the public in about a week. How to Be Legal. You have to buy 10 copies at a time, but it'll teach you how to do that.
But then you also have to have a companion volume about how to still remain illicit.
How to be, yeah, exactly.
Is there
No.
any illicit things we can do? I don't know.
Again. See, that's a fallacy too.
Right.
Our act, I was going through our act, what we did.
Yeah.
And our old act had some so racist stuff in it, so misogynist. I mean, it was like, but it was of the time.
Yes.
That's what made people laugh. We couldn't do that now. And we wouldn't do that now. We've
that's
evolved.
The trouble with this cancel culture idea is that's what comedians are built on.
Right.
It's by being inappropriate and saying the unsayable at that time. So I don't know what it's going to do to the whole comedy, because that's what comedy is built on.
Right.
know, so we'll see.
Saying the uncomfortable,
Yeah.
saying the thing that you're not supposed to
Yeah,
say.
so
where are we headed? With
I don't
that?
know.
'Cause
We're going to have to see.
Well,
we're
what it is,
rewriting the narrative together.
it's a pressure. See, when you do it, it relieves the pressure. You know,
Right.
what's going on now with Trump. If you look at it in a comedic way, you can laugh. I mean, I
call him Twitler.
I mean, I look at this guy. I mean,
We are
you know the best way to
threat.
watch Trump?
Right.
Mute him.
Yeah.
Just mute him and then just play music or
Watch the
play
faces.
something else and just watch him up there. And he's Mussolini. He's like Charlie Chaplin. He's all those guys. You know, with his
I
little
thought he
posing.
was a phony and a crook. The first time I ever saw him when he
Right.
was a gadabout in New York. So, how did he break into the party? He's such
How?
a jerk.
I know, because Daddy.
Yeah,
Daddy. That's the only reason that he's there.
But he did it.
Daddy was a racist and Daddy didn't love him either.
No.
So now we're dealing with an unloved little boy.
Oh.
And this is the havoc that he wreaks. But we're changing the narrative. And this is what I'm excited about with you guys, is that you're launching dispensarias,
Yeah.
which I feel like, you know, it definitely gives this nod to the Mexican-American culture, to marijuana, to kind of taking our culture back.
Yep.
And saying, okay, this great age-old journey of scoring weed is still a really important part of our lives,
Yeah.
and how we score the weed matters, and who we score the weed with matters,
Yeah.
and so how, like, I want you guys to have a chance to speak about Dispensaria and what has been getting you excited and getting you up in the morning now about writing this
Well,
new narrative.
it's been a dream of ours since we started. In fact, we had the first dispensary in our movies. You know, we had the pot cafe in Amsterdam and Still Smoking. We had a ice cream dispensary in Nice Dreams.
Yeah.
So and we had and we were, remember I had a job rolling joints.
Oh yeah. No, that's a
I'm
job.
my best customer. I was my best customer. And this was back in the day. So we said, and then we did Acapulco Gold. You know, no stinker
Badass
seeds that we don't need. Acapulco Gold is
Badass weed.
and so right now, all we're doing really is recapturing our youth with
the
the
innocence
dispensaries.
of the movement. That's us.
What we did,
Right.
we set the stage for entertainment, for movie producers, directors, actors, writers. When they grew up with our records and that, they go, oh, okay. And so you got a Tarantino, you got, Fridays, all those movies, Harold and
Seth
Kumar,
Rogen and
all
Kumar,
those
yeah.
guys,
Oh, yeah.
even Fast Times at Ridgemont High, because that's I want to get a gathering of like Spicoli
Spicoli.
and Jeff Bridges and all the
All the
Seth
guys.
Rogen
Yeah.
and have
Smoked out
a
and
gathering
one
of
of
those guys and do a
Please
round
do
table
it.
or something
I
Yeah.
love that.
because
Do that.
we
We
inspired
would
that.
cover that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Sure.
Yeah, we inspired all
You
that.
absolutely
Yeah.
did. I mean, you really created a global
And
thing.
so when it comes to our dispensaries, we're going to mine that gold mine that we have of our things. So every dispensary is not just going to be a store where you buy weed like Mad Men,
Right.
very, very, I don't know what you call it, but it's
Medman, I didn't know whether to buy weed or have my phone fixed.
Yeah.
In there.
It's the Chads and Brads. I feel
You know,
it's the
like-
Chads and
yeah,
Brads.
yeah.
They don't know what they're
Yeah.
doing either, and it shows.
And their weed was stale.
Right.
It was bad. I mean, I didn't find any good
Call
weed
it
there.
Boof.
Boof?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Boof weed. Boof. BOOF. That's what we call it now. It's just basically shit weed.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got
You
breast strips now, the THC breast strips.
it was
that
at
are
the
so
suggestion of
popular.
his family.
Yeah. They're so popular. They're so popular. When I go to parties now, and everybody's asking me for them, because I
I
went
think
to
it's great.
I went to
You on the airplane?
I went to a hockey game
Totally
with a
different.
bunch of guys with our the game, you know, the Bud Farm
Yeah.
guys, and I gave them all a bread strip. Halfway through the game, man, they had more munchies there. Hey, bring more beer, more popcorn, more. You give me a hot dog. You guys want a hot dog?
I was directing this play on Broadway, and the guy who wrote the play and was kind of starring in it, I got these strips. This was got these strips. He said, "Oh, can I have one?" Well, yeah, okay, sure. And so, see what happens. And so we were finished rehearsing. We're going. He says, "You know, nothing happened. Can I have another?" I don't know, dude. Maybe they just made that. No, I'll be fine. We didn't hear from him for a couple days. He got lost, man. His wife was looking for him. So one at a time.
Yes.
That's
yes.
my.
Carefully.
Yeah, carefully.
There still needs to be a lot of education.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I'm excited about with your dispensarias as well. It seems like you guys are going to really focus on providing really fun, quality products, but also education, right?
But
And tacos.
here's the
Tacos.
education.
I love having a taco bar.
I love it.
Here's the education part.
Ándale.
Like now, they're worried about home learning and all that crap, man. You got a phone. It has everything in there that you'll ever need. Now you can sit at dinner parties and you can't remember the name of something. Someone goes, oh, they got it.
So my wife, when she's talking to me,
Yeah.
blah, 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 she's, oh, no, here's.
That's what I'm saying. So it's the age that we're living in. That's why we have our dispensaries now. That's why everybody's ready for them.
Right.
That's why our business really is considered essential.
Yeah.
It is.
What's open? Cheech and Chong dispensaries. Gonna be
Mexican
open.
Americans, they're essential workers in essential industries like dispensaries.
Bravo.
And the other thing we're going to do with the dispensaries is it's like a meeting place. In Canada, we have community centers. In every area in Canada, every neighborhood has a community center.
Yes.
And it's so essential. See, and we don't have them here. In
needed.
America, we don't have them here,
right.
and so our dispensaries are going to act like that. There'll be bulletin boards, where you can get jobs, or where you can, and books. A lot of the problems, especially now.
If we had a teen center, we wouldn't be in this problem.
Yeah, my solution for especially the kids at the border
Yes.
is to make a movie and then hire the kids as actors and get them all legal and with their family and everybody else.
I think that's a
Because
great idea.
like a movie company has the ability to house and clothe and feed thousands of people
I
at
think
the
that's
same
an
time.
Excellent idea, Tom.
At the same time, and not only that, but when you're vetting people to see who should be in the country and that, no one better than a casting company. Nobody better.
They know how to jump through
They
hoops
know
to get it done.
everything about you. It's their job, you see. And so what I'd like to do, is in a movie company is very,
They're used to.
well, you have to listen to the boss. Like back in the day when MGM and the moguls, they ran everything, they had a moral code, man. And you didn't mess with that moral code. You couldn't show people getting killed without, it had to be done in a very moral fashion.
Right.
But so this is what marijuana does to you.
Yes.
It gets you thinking, and it gets
Makes
you
you
solving
moral.
problems. Yeah.
Get you thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And that's taking us all the way around to circle back to where we started.
Yeah.
Like,
That it's
who's got the
about-
joint?
Exactly.
Oh.
Where's the damn joint?
Yeah.
Chief? Okay, let me just ask you a few things for the heads.
All right.
What's your favorite weed? Your favorite strain?
Oh, my
Quick questions. Quid pro quo. Come on.
okay. My favorite strain, my favorite weed, my favorite strain is marijuana or cannabis,
Or cannabis.
and sometimes some mota.
Okay.
and Yeska.
La
Añasca.
Bota.
That's my
La
my.
Yesca. It's only bad if you don't have it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right. The only bad weed is no weed.
No.
Okay, okay. That's
That's
got to
it.
be a tagline.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite movie that you made together?
Probably still smoking.
That was a good movie. I like Up in Smoke because it was the first.
Yes.
There was maybe funnier movies, but that endures.
Up in Smoke.
Up in
is
Smoke.
so-
Classic.
Yeah, I think.
I want to bring it back. It should be looping in your dispensaries.
It is in a lot of people's
And
homes.
that punk rock.
I've been at
I'm so
people's.
glad you came up with that at the end.
That's us.
Yeah.
It would have been a completely different movie without.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, we were tuned in to what was going on.
I tried to
happening.
bring that green van down, but I couldn't get it. He knows somebody that has it up north. So.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. If I
Yeah.
find him, I'll put you guys in touch. Favorite experience in your career so far?
Experience.
These are just short answers.
I don't. Boy, what's your favorite experience? I don't know.
I think the Forum concert with the Stones.
Yeah, opening up for the Stones
Oh
at the.
my
I think that was because it took us from the little clubs into 19,000 people,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we killed. We literally. They had no idea what was going to happen,
Yeah.
and we came out there and we got introduced to the whole Stones people.
That was
I think
pretty
that was
good.
my favorite.
I remember walking on that stage and going, "This is a big ass stage, man." Wow, we kept walking.
And can you imagine us on our hands and knees doing the dogs in front of 19,000
Oh,
people?
and to emote and to just
It was great. Yeah.
send that out.
That
That
was-
was my.
that
What
was-
was yours?
I like the Stones or at the Kennedy Center, sold out 2 doors.
We had a
at the
few.
Kennedy Center, yeah.
We played to the biggest outdoor crowd ever. What was it, 800?
No, it's five or 600,000 people. Yeah, it's hard to see the back row. You didn't see the back row. Your vision couldn't carry that far.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to give you guys a chance. What do you think is the best effort that you can make?
I think that you should vote. Get up out of your seat, out of your house if you have to, or to the mailbox and vote as many times as you can.
Mine?
Yes.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Very good. It's Canadian sage wisdom.
Sage advice.
Don't eat the yellow snow. You learn that right away because you're tempted a lot of
I
times.
learned that when I went up there. I did my time, 7 months of winter.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys.
You're welcome.
A ver, pues.